If Jesus were a radio station, most of us would prefer an easy listening station. You know, one with calm music that doesn't get too loud, one that plays popular tunes but generally stays on in the background. That's kind of the way we want our Jesus. We don't want a loud hard rock station blaring loud music at us all day. We don't want a station that is right in front of us all the time. We want calm, easy, quiet. But that's not always the Jesus we get. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. I've been talking last week in this about the mystery of the Incarnation. Fitting, it seems to me, for these 12 days of Christmas, but I'm not so much talking about the mystery of incarnation itself, but rather the question, why did Jesus come into the world in the first place? There are lots and lots of ways to come at this question, but I'm focusing on the places in the Gospels where Jesus himself, in his own words, tells us some of the reasons why he came. Today we return to a story we've already seen, the one about the healing of the man who was born blind, and the conflict it created with the Pharisees. The story, you'll recall, is that Jesus met a man in Jerusalem who was born blind. The disciples wanted to know why he had been born blind. In that time, you see, blindness like that was seen as the direct result of sin. But since this man had been born blind, naturally they want to know whether the man himself sinned or his parents. All the makings of an interesting theological discussion. But Jesus short-circuits this line of discussion by saying he was born blind for this very moment, so that God's glory could be revealed. And with that, Jesus heals the man, and he can see, apparently for the first time in his life. And then with that, Jesus and the disciples move on. But now the Pharisees enter the picture. They want to know who healed this man. Was it, gasp, a sinner who did this? This sets up a neat story about actual blindness and metaphorical blindness and the relationship between blindness and sin. The man born blind believed Jesus. Jesus gave him his sight. In his response to the Pharisees, he says, if this man were not from God, he could do nothing. Though born blind, he sees clearly enough who Jesus is. Now the Pharisees respond, you were born entirely in sins, and are you trying to teach us? This response sets up a conflict between the Pharisees and Jesus, who returns to the scene. Jesus heard that they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, and who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him. Jesus said to him, you have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he. He said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. Jesus said, I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see may become blind. The meaning of blindness now shifts from literal, as in the fact that this man was born literally blind, to metaphorical. Even though the man had been born blind, he was able to see with perfect clarity that Jesus was special, worth his trust and worship. On the other hand, the Pharisees, though able to see perfectly well, were blind to who Jesus was. This brings us back to the original question which the disciples had asked, who sinned here? It opens up the question of the relationship between sin and blindness. In the traditional view, blindness was seen as the result of sin. But now Jesus reverses it. The sin of the Pharisees is their blindness to who he is and what he's doing. And the judgment? It is for their willful denial of Jesus. But this is where it gets interesting. Notice that Jesus doesn't actually cast judgment here. Those who opposed him effectively judged themselves. Does this mean that all who do not acknowledge Jesus as Lord and Savior stand under judgment? Probably no more than we do when we say we believe but act otherwise. But the good news is, judgment need not be forever. In fact, we all stand judged, and we all are found wanting. It is only by grace that we are saved, which is to say that Jesus doesn't so much come to do away with judgment as he does to reveal to us that we stand judged and offer us the salvation we cannot attain for ourselves. Are we as blind as the Pharisees? Maybe. Do we stand under judgment? Absolutely. Is judgment the last word? No. The last word is grace. You see now? Tomorrow, Jesus himself flips the conversation on judgment. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do, this day and in all the days ahead.